Hello, everyone. Reverend Carol here. I hope you are having a wonderful day. It's November 3rd, and there's a little bit of a storm passing through, so you might hear some thunder and lightning in the background. Well, this month and next month, you will notice that I have an affirmation here in the background. And your host spiritual community is joining together and using this affirmation. So, in the stories that we'll be sharing with you for the next couple of months, we're going to use this affirmation as well. And the affirmation is from the power of the Christ within, I live my sole purpose to create new good in my life, my community, and the world. And most of the stories really are all about that, aren't they? And today's story is about young people who practice generosity in action. And there's a couple of different little stories. So I'm going to share those with you. As November, we tend to think of it as a month of being grateful and of giving more. And this is a story about young people. I think you'll enjoy that. So it is called Young People Giving Generously. And let me see if I can find the beginning of it. All right. Robbie and Brittany Bergquist. Robbie was 12 and his sister Brittany is 13. And they were having breakfast one morning when they heard a news story about a soldier who had racked up an $8,000 cell phone bill by calling his family from Iraq. And they thought, that's not right. The troops had to pay for their own calls home. Didn't they have a right to call home? Robbie and Brittany had a cousin in Iraq, and they knew how worried their parents were when they hadn't heard from him in a while. Right then, they decided to help pay the soldier's phone bill. So they ran up to their bedrooms and pulled the plugs on their piggy banks and ran back downstairs and threw $14 on the table. At school, they collected another $7 from their friends. And when they brought the $21 to the bank to start an account, the bank manager was so impressed, he added an additional $500. This encouraged Robbie and Brittany to keep at raising money. The kids held car washes and bake sales, but eventually decided to recycle, use cell phones, and buy phone minutes. Then they sent the phones to soldiers who could call home for free. News stations did stories about Robbie and Brittany, and soon the project skyrocketed. Brittany said thousands of people want to support the troops, but they never had a way to do it. Soon cell phones filled their garage, blocked their front hall, and surrounded the piano in their living room. Every day after school, they'd have phone messages and emails waiting for them. Working on their project every free moment, they missed school games, dances, and parties. And even though it was hard sometimes, Robbie said, this is our fun. And they started a charitable organization called Cell Phones for Soldiers. We take for granted our ability to call home and speak to our families, said Brittany. The troops don't do that. They appreciate what we're doing. That's what sparks us to do more. They get thank yous from soldiers who have been able to stay connected to their families. Robbie appreciates all that his parents have done to help them. We have the perfect family to start a program like that, he said. The most supportive parents. The cell phones for soldiers has provided more than 150 million minutes of free calls to soldiers and have recycled over 10 million cell phones. Robbie and Brittany aren't teenagers anymore, but they're still helping soldiers. Our next story is about Zach Bonner. When Zachary was 6 years old, a hurricane hit Florida and left many people without water. Zach's neighborhood in Valrico, Florida had plenty of water, so he decided to help. Zach was inspired by the Peace Pilgrim, a story that we've talked about before here. Going door to door with his little red wagon, Zach collected water bottles for people in need. By the time he was finished, he had collected 27 truckloads of water bottles. After that experience, Zach realized how good it felt to help people. So he just kept doing it. Along with help from others, Zach started an organization to help homeless children called Little Red Wagon Foundation. There are now volunteers from all over the U.S. When he was 10, Zach decided to do a charity march. He called it My House to the White House and did it in 3 stages. At first, Zach's mother thought he was too young for such a big project, but she knew he would finish anything he started, so she said, okay. Zach likes to do charity work, she said, and this is what he wants to do. In stage 1, he walked from Tampa to Tallahassee, Florida. In stage 2, he walked from Tallahassee to Atlanta, Georgia. And in stage 3, he walked from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. That's a total of almost 2,000 miles. And Zach said, if you have love in your heart, then you have to use it. It takes a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of fun. He gave the money he raised to homeless shelters for kids in Tampa and Washington, D.C. He said kids need a safe place to sleep. In 2010, when Zach was 13, he walked across America from Tampa to Los Angeles, and it took him from March to September. When asked if it was hard to do, Zach said, when you're having a bad day, you have to realize that someone else is having a lot worse of a day than you. Zach says that his plans is to keep on helping as many kids as he can, have fun, and keep it simple. And our last story is about Roja. Some projects like Robbie's, Brittany's, and Zach's get a lot of attention. They appeared on TV, in magazines, but there are children helping others every day who never get a lot of attention, but feel good about what generously giving whatever they can. Roja is a good example. Roja had a simple birthday at home with her family. They all had contributed a little money to buy her a new winter coat. She thought it was the most beautiful coat she had ever seen. As a special birthday surprise, they took her out for dinner. As they all walked happily back to the car, Roja noticed a little girl on the street. She looked about the same age, but she was dirty, cold, and alone. Roja's eyes stayed fixed on her as the girl slowly approached the car with her hands stretched out, as if asking for something. Roja and her brothers and parents searched the car for some fruit or something healthy to give the little girl. But on that day, they had nothing. Roja noticed the little girl's runny nose and kindly offered her a tissue. The little girl walked away, wiping her nose and her tears. Roja sat silent and then said to her mother, "Mommy, that little girl's sick because she is cold. May I give her my new coat, please?" And her mother said, Well, if that is what you want to do, of course you may do that. So she jumped out of the car and ran towards the little girl, taking off her coat as she went. She wrapped the coat around the girl's shoulders and came back to the car. Rojo smiled and began to shiver. Her younger brother, Kamal, who noticed that Rojo was cold, took off his coat and wrapped it around her shoulder. Now, this story is excerpted from the Virtues in Action book on generosity. Now, although these stories are all about children, these young people couldn't have done what they did without help and support from adults. And in some cases, it took some technical and organizational resources. However, it was the children's idea and their enthusiasm that got the ball rolling. So know that nothing truly is impossible. Well, I hope you enjoyed the stories about giving generously, and know that it doesn't have to be in a really big way. Little small ways help too. And I hope you will join us in our affirmations. And we're doing them 3 times a day. And the affirmation again is, from the power of the Christ within, I live my sole purpose to create new good in my life, my community, and my world. We love you and we miss you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.